Hi, my name's Lindy Cowling. Welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. And the way to contact me, please, for sessions, for bookings, for media or anything else like that, is via email, please. Title of this video this evening is, well, I say this video, I'm probably going to record three, one after another, but this one is going to be called Lemuria, or Lemurian Crystalline Energies. So, what I have specifically noticed during this period of time is linking in I would say very acutely, tuning in, very fine tuning into the Lemurian energies. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Lemurian energies, a so-called ancient civilization, along with Atlantean, Atlantis, you probably heard of Atlantis more than you have Lemuria. But ancient civilizations that were far more advanced to the point that we have got to now. And this knowledge, if you like, this wisdom is there in an archetypal form for people to tap into. And all of us, or many of us, well, I could say all of us, can tap into that and access that information and that archetypal information. But I would say it's even stronger if you have soul memory or solar memory, ancestral memory, cellular memory, energetic memory of actually existing in one of your timelines, or what you would call past lives, in Lemuria. So I've been aware of the Lemurian energies now since 2010, and how that came about for me was via the awakening process to come into a state of union within and the unified 0 point field within, via the twin flame union. And I first became aware of it then because at that point in time I was able to, almost like I can now, assimilate and almost like embody and show as part of my soul's consciousness rotation. So what I mean by soul's consciousness rotation is, I mean a bit like a diamond with different facets. If you rotate it in the light, you see different facets of the diamond, not different faces like masks, different facets of the diamond consciousness as a whole. So in 2010, at certain points in my evolution there, I was, let's say, accessing memories and inputs of my life as a Lemurian. Now, I did have, let's say, information on the Atlantis civilization, but I wasn't from that civilization. I was from the Lemurian one. So although I did have information on the Atlantis one and knew of information around that, and people, souls I was connected with, had been involved in that, my soul, if you like, is partly Lemurian. Now, like I just said, if I backtrack, everybody can access these archetypal energies, and in that sense we can all dip into that collective consciousness, that archetypal consciousness. But like I say, if you are one of the many, many people here on the planet that have an aspect of your consciousness experiencing or has experienced the Lemurian civilization, then when you get to a point in your consciousness in the here and now reality, in this timeline, you will find that when you get to a certain point, you are automatically, as you are becoming more crystalline, able to access the more crystalline frequencies of you as a multidimensional being. So if I track back to 2010, I was able to, and actually people would actually say to me, you know, they actually say that you look, Lindy, you look slightly different, you know, when I was accessing this. Now it's different to channeling, and yet not totally different to channeling. I wasn't channeling another being from outside of me. I do know the difference because I've been able to do that for 17 years. So I am a medium as well. I do know how to channel. I've done that many times before. This is slightly different. It's almost channeling from your own higher self and your own aspect of higher consciousness. I suppose you could still call it channeling. I don't really call that channeling. To me, channeling is tapping into an aspect outside of me and bringing it through. That's just my interpretation. Somebody else would say, well, it's still a form of channeling. I don't really call it that. 17 years background working in trance as a hypnotherapist, I guess, was a great foundation for letting me get used to different aspects of channeling and trance, etc., etc. So I don't call it that now. For me, if I wanted to channel an energy outside of me, even a higher aspect of me from outside of me, or of my, let's say, guide team, what I would do is I would go into a slightly different frequency to what I am now. And you would probably see that, hear that, and I would be fully here, but the words coming out my mouth would be coming through me. Slightly different to the words coming out my mouth coming from my heart. Slightly different form of, like, let's say, tuning in and channeling. Anyway, I've deviated off a little bit there. So 2010 was when I was aware of this. At the moment, the Lemurian energies, for me personally, are very high. Why is that? Because I personally feel I've reached that level of consciousness where that is becoming part of my embodiment. So I'm having a huge amount of dreams to do with dolphins, whales. Not, let's say, not normal dreams to do with dolphins and whales, more on the lines of them holding crystalline frequencies and codes and holding the planetary, let's say, the planetary grid and participating in that. So I'm having a lot of dreams along those lines. I mean, my favorite animal, really, well, my favorite animals, I've got 3 favorite animals, really, or I say animals, creatures. Deer, that goes back to my shamanic side of me. Deer, I love deer, always have since I was a little girl, and been able to track them since I was a little girl in this life. Dolphins, absolutely love dolphins, and whales. So it's a crystalline frequency that when you get to a certain point of your evolution in your heart, you are able to access the crystalline part of you. When I say part of you, the crystalline embodiment of you, because it's not part of you, you're becoming it. But you're also able to access the corresponding archetypes or corresponding information that goes along with that the crystalline data, if you like, and the crystalline knowledge and awareness that all goes with it. Now, personally, for me, when I look back, this has been building up. Like I say, it was slightly different in 2010, but really this level of it has been coming in little dribs and drabs for the last about 2 years, actually. But it's gone up a gear lately, especially in dream state and dream time now. So there's been kind of a change there. personally, I feel as more people access for 4-dimension, 5-dimension and upwards, these crystalline, the crystalline data, the crystalline information, the crystalline archetypal information will become more available to them and collectively, so to them personally and collectively, because they will be that state of awareness. They will be able to access it because they're coming from that same frequency or wave band within them. I do feel it's significant. I feel that the Lemurian civilization is also entwined with the galactic and also entwined with star being and all interconnected. And I am smiling to myself there, because when something comes out of my mouth and it's kind of doing what I'm doing now by not thinking it through before I'm saying it, when I get something that resonates or is what I call a hit, I get goosebumps, or my hair goes on end, which just happened when I said that. So that's, to me, is a confirmation. So the Lemurian, the galactic, you know, and the star being all kind of one and the same. I just got the hit again. Hair just went like that. I should keep it like that. Looks good, doesn't it? I don't think. So it's interesting. So the Lemurian energies, like I say, they've been there obviously for a very long time. And I would say the Atlantean energies as well. Now, to me, when I say that, there feels a difference to me. Now, it may be that I'm commenting on this from me personally and on a soul level personally, because I was or am connected in my soul family to access aspects of soul family that were connected with the Atlantean civilization, and an aspect of a soul connection to me. Their mother was implicated in the downfall of Atlantis. So to me, when I try and feel into that, I'm not resonating with the Atlantis energy at all. In fact, there's a slight clash of energy. When I feel a clash of energy, my teeth go on edge a bit. So there's kind of a clash of energy there. So I'm not kind of drawn that way. But the Lemurian, to me personally, I just feel a much softer energy for me, and that's part of what I'm accessing, or I guess another way of saying it is part of who I am, I guess. So the only reason I bring this out is I thought you might find it interesting in case that these similar kind of things are happening with you. What I would say, talking on the twin flame union side of it, is there seems to be quite a high level of the, let's say, the twin flame phenomena or arena having roots back in those civilizations. Again, in some ways, no surprise there. But there does seem to be a connection there where you can track that back. So I find that interesting as well. But I'm going to just comment personally here on what's happening at the moment. So the reason I think it's happening is because globally more people are reaching a crystalline state of consciousness within them. Everything's about consciousness. You can't access these states of being unless you are becoming those states of being in embodiment. This is different to tapping in outside of you and channeling. This is an inner state, and a very natural, actually, inner state and process that takes place. I personally think it's happening to me because that's the point I've reached, or for me, within me, and many others. And I feel globally it's because more people are reaching those crystalline kind of galactic states of awareness now. So nothing kind of major to say on this. Really, it's just what I'm saying. Also, the interaction with the water, the bodies of water on this planet as a consciousness. So that would be rivers, even ditches, actually, anywhere that there's water. The water coming out of the tap, the water in the bath, the shower, ditches, lakes, rivers, the sea, the oceans, obviously, that kind of thing, streams. The consciousness of the water has always been significantly important, and especially as we're predominantly made up of water, and consciousness and how we think and feel obviously shows up in that water and that consciousness. And there has been fantastic work over the years by Masuru Emoto. I mean, I was reading his work probably 15 years ago or something like that, maybe longer than that, that can prove that how you think and feel and create really is shown in crystalline form in water. That word crystalline again. The water is absolutely significant to our consciousness within us, but also on the planet. And you can, just like you can interact in your consciousness with plants and nature, you can interact in your consciousness with water, and that is significantly important. When I was blessed to have a trip to New York in the end of May and sort of come back early June of this year, my friend and myself, and my friend, you know, holds energetic space, you know, and works energy as well. We, as part of that trip, you know, part of that vacation, we you know, we automatically, you know, if you work with energy, you find even if you go on vacation, somehow, you know, something energetic comes in, you know, whether you wanted to or not really. And we were tuning into the frequency of the water on Long Island, just off New York. And when we first tuned in, the water was very, very unhappy, actually, very, very unhappy about the way it had been treated, the way it had been polluted. And this isn't specific to Long Island. This is the ocean as a whole, really, the consciousness of the ocean as a whole, communicating that it was really pretty sick of being sick and poisoned and mistreated, and all the awful things that are happening to it, and the creatures that are in the water, of course, including, you know, dolphins and whales, for example, amongst the many others. And we know I had to spend the first couple of days, and so my friend, almost like apologising and almost like communicating, getting the water, the consciousness to kind of trust us. Being human beings, it didn't really trust us very much, and apologising and kind of like working with the water to purify it, and lots of other gizmos. I won't go into it now, but lots of other stuff communicating with the water. And on the last day that we were there, it's always been a dream of mine to actually see not just crystalline dolphins and whales, but actually to communicate with physical dolphins and whales, which hasn't happened for me yet. And I've been feeling it would. And on the last day that we were there, it was a very overcast, cloudy day, and we went for our last walk along the beach, Lido Beach it was called, where we were staying. And normally, we were going to just do this short walk and then come straight back again. But something in me made me want to stay there a bit longer. So we sat down on this bench and we were just talking about things, you know, talking about life. And I started talking about dolphins and saying, wouldn't it be absolutely fantastic as on this last day, as a way of saying goodbye, and almost like a way of us thanking the ocean and the ocean thanking us, that we just saw like dolphins or whales or something like that. Would be amazing. And so we just sat there talking, and we were sat there for quite some time, and then we decided we'd better go back because, you know, we had to leave for the airport in a few hours. So we're walking back along the beach, just talking, and I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I thought, I'm sure that was a fin. And I stopped and I grabbed my friend's arm and I said, I'm sure I just saw something in the water then, like a fin or something. And we stood there, and oh my God, it was one of the most magical moments ever. I mean, it's make my hair go on now. There were 5 dolphins putting on a show for us, so close, as close as they could possibly safely come into the shore, because we're standing on the shore. I mean, we both cried, actually. We were so moved by this, and we literally walked along, the dolphins keeping pace with us like this, for 20 minutes. Now, while we were doing this, there was a local man that lived on the edge of the beach that saw this from his window, and he came running along, and he actually came up to us and he said, this is just unheard of at this time of year. It wasn't a normal occurrence. He said, you might occasionally see this in the summer. He said, but not at this time of year. And he'd lived there for like 5 years, never seen it, not at that time of year. And he was very moved as well. And we just watched them, you know, we interacted with them for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, 20 minutes, and there were 5 of them. And we were over the moon, and because dolphins are significant to my friends, significant to me, and very apt that we were working with the water and almost like apologizing and getting the water, and the creatures of the water trust us. And to us, it was our way of, like, you know, bowing, honoring one another and thanking one another, you know, the dolphins, the ocean and us. So I'll never forget that experience. I hope that's not the last time or the only time I ever see anything like that, and I'm sure it's not. But it was wonderful, and it was so wonderful just because had we not sat on that bench and spent an extra 20 minutes, half an hour there, we would not have seen them. Had I not just, you know, there's all that synchronicity. Had I not looked to the left, had I been talking and looking that way to the right, I wouldn't have seen them. And it was a magical, magical moving thing for us to see them in the wild and to see them come in exceptionally close to the shore, just to say, you know, it was a mutual thanking one another, really. So I thought I'd share that. Now that to me is entirely connected to crystalline energies, and to me dolphins, whales are connected totally to crystalline energies. Let's say dolphin and whales in their normal form hold a frequency, an anchoring frequency anyway, but it's almost like, let's say the higher true form of them is crystalline, like we have a higher true form of the authentic us. So I think they are so much more than humanity have given them credit for, you know, not just intelligent beings, but they are contributing to the well-being of the consciousness of the planet, and are doing and have been doing so for millennia, but are intricately linked with Atlantis and Lemurian archetypal energy and consciousness. So that's just my very quick take on that, because I'm probably going to just go straight on and do some more recording here actually while I'm on a roll. I hope you found it interesting, and like I say, I'm bringing it out because it's an experiential channel, so I bring out what I've been experiencing with clients or myself personally, and or both. And you might find it interesting if you are at a stage where you're accessing your archetypal crystalline energy, whether you've actually experienced those civilizations or not. It doesn't really matter. It's available to all when you hit crystalline consciousness, basically. On that note, I will love you and leave you. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel in all the ways that you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will probably be in a couple of minutes. Thanks, guys. Bye.